Okay, it's Monday night. I figured I'd come out here after work and get a little bit of work done on the Jeep. It's kind of crazy. We set an all-time record yesterday on Sunday for the high. Turned out to be 71 degrees. Beat the record by, I think, 5 degrees. It was 60 degrees today, and by Wednesday we're supposed to get 3 to 5 inches of snow. So the old saying goes, if you don't like the weather in Missouri, wait about 15 minutes. That's definitely true this week. But one of the other issues I was having with this, before I go to start this, the only direction I can get the shifter to go is first and into neutral. I can't get it into any other gears, so I think tonight I'm going to take this cover off of the transmission tunnel in the floor, and I might actually pull the top of the transmission off as well to see if maybe the shift fork in there's just rusted up really badly or what's going on. But I'll get the GoPro set up and we'll get to taking that apart. My poor old proto socket is just about wore out, so all of them came out with it except for one's trying to strip it out, so time to grab the Craftsman. Alright, I got some light shining down in there on the camera, and you can probably barely pick that up, but there's water down in the bottom of this thing. There isn't any fluid from what I can tell. There's a commenter that comments on a lot of my videos. His name's Badger Bob, and he hit the nail on the head with this one by saying that these were notorious for getting water inside of them. And as you can see, there's water down in there. Luckily, the synchronizers don't look like there's any teeth missing off of it, but the collar up here is just rusted up pretty good, so I think if I soak this down with some concoction of some kind, maybe some Marvel Mystery Oil, drain the water out of it, I think by the time that I get this thing running, this would probably be freed up. I can put the top of the shifter back on and see if it'll pop out of gear. Okay, it's Saturday. Next order of business is to put more automatic transmission fluid inside of this to try to get everything unrusted. I put 2 in it the other night off camera. I've got 2 more. I'm not sure how much it'll take to fill that up. It's used, but I think it'll do what's needed. Then I'm going to take the shift fork. You can see there has a lot of rust on it as well. It does move though. It does move, so I'm going to spray that down with some penetrating oil, fill up the transmission, and hopefully that'll get that broken loose, but if not, I'll drain it out and try something else. I would almost use Evapo-Rust, but I'm not really sure if that would wreak havoc on the bearing up front and maybe the bearing in the back, so I'm going to play it safe for the time being. If this doesn't work, I'll try something else, but Let's try it out. I got the transmission pretty much filled to the top. Took a lot more than was expected, but luckily I had some used automatic transmission fluid sitting around just for an occasion to use on something like this. Time to get on the shift fork. We'll grab some penetrating oil out of the cabinet. PB Blaster works pretty good. Soak this thing down, and hopefully in the next few days it'll free it up. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the radiator hose. It's kind of getting in the way. I don't want to get into the fan if I go to start this, so I can remove a few useless items that I'm not going to need at the time being. Get a new one whenever the time comes to put a radiator in this thing if it does start up and run good. So I'm going to get it out of the way. I took the radiator hose off because I didn't want to get in the way of the fan, and I was kind of starting to be suspicious when I seen acorns down inside. Them little critters will go just about everywhere. I don't know if the GoPro's picking that up. You can kind of see one down there, but glad I noticed that before I tried starting this. I'm going to go ahead and take this water neck housing off of it and get those acorns out of there. Luckily, I didn't really notice, but thermostat held them from going down on top of the head, so that's one good thing. Let's pull that thermostat out and see what's all packed in here. That thing is completely packed full. You can actually see light through it now. I don't know if the GoPro's picking that up. Yeah, you can kind of see down in there now. Good thing I noticed that before I tried starting it. I'll go ahead and grab the vacuum here in a second off camera, and I'll clean up everything that I can get out of the top of the head here. Just a little bit of rust. Nothing major, luckily. Alright, and before I forget, let's take a rag and throw down over the top of that. I could just see dropping a bolt or a nut down inside of there and being very angry at myself for doing so. Hopefully that'll keep every bit of trash out of there. Now let's get back to the front of this Jeep. Now again, this is just temporary. Putting this back together. Hopefully it does run. I'll come back later and replace this with newer thermostat and gasket. Alright, let's get that distributor cap off of here. Oh well, the cap doesn't look bad at all, really. I could probably sand that and get away with using this one, but I got the new one already. What does the rotor look like? Well, that's got some... It's not play on the distributor shaft, but that rotor isn't on there tight. The end of it doesn't look burnt very badly. Like I said, I could probably sand that and get away with using it as well. I may just go ahead and sand these, take a little bit of sandpaper and clean those contact points rather than to deal with trying to set the gap on here. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, I decided to do the points in this since I got them already. Makes no sense to just leave them like they are. Got the guts out of the distributor. It's going to be pretty much impossible for me to set the camera up and get in there and tighten all the hardware down, so I'm just going to do it off camera, and then we'll put the rotor bug on it and the distributor cap back on. But a lot of fine parts. Just got to remember where they go. The points were actually burnt pretty much off of there. Couldn't really tell while it was still on there, but now that I got them off, I can definitely see that. Be back in a minute. That'll do it for today's video on the Jeep. I planned on doing a lot more, but I had to cut this video short for two main reasons. The first reason, the distributor cap that they sent me at Rock Auto is wrong. It's almost small enough to fit inside of the old one. It won't go over the distributor, so you can't really send parts back to Rock Auto because it's all automated. I think this was only about $3, so it's not that big of a deal. I'll just swing by the local parts store and see if they do have one. The second reason, my GoPro Hero 7 White that I've been recording on this whole time finally gave up the ghost. I actually went out and bought a GoPro Hero 7 Silver, so hopefully that treats me a little bit better than this one. I don't think that I've quite had this a year, so I'm going to try to look and see if GoPro will do something about it. Maybe I'll send this camera in and they'll fix it and send it back to me. I'm not really sure how the warranty works on that. But I also wanted to mention, if you would check out my buddies at Central Oregon Shenanigans in the Fox Shop. Now, Central Oregon Shenanigans is run by two guys, James Rogers and Kyle Singleton. They have a lot of great OBS Ford truck content. James from Central Oregon Shenanigans just picked up a Ford Excursion. I'm not a big Ford fan, but I've always loved the Excursions. Those things are awesome. They're about as big as a school bus, but I love that Super Duty body style, and I'd definitely like to have one of those. Kyle from Central Oregon Shenanigans has just been very busy with work, so he hasn't done a lot of videos or anything recently. But from what I understand, as soon as he gets some time, they're going to get back to work on his Ford F-150, the Heritage body style that has a 4BT Cummins they bought a while back. They bought it from somebody who previously put the engine in and didn't do a very good job, so they're going back through and doing things the right way. So that'll be very interesting to watch on that as well. And John Fox from the Fox Shop has been working on his beautiful green and white Ford F-150. He put a lift on the truck. He repainted it a few years ago. He's got a lot of great videos on doing the paint and body work. And he just recently fixed a rust spot that developed on his fender from all the salt on the roads. He knows how that is, like me, to drive around on salty roads and rust up your vehicles really bad. But he's got a beautiful truck. He also has a channel, the Fox Shop Barbecue, where he does barbecue videos. And those are very interesting to watch. But it's nice to have people out there that can tell you what to do and what not to do. So I want to thank them very much for that. And it's kind of like they told me before, YouTube shouldn't be a contest of who can get the most views. It should be a really tight community, kind of like what we've got going on right now. And I've also gave a shout out myself to a smaller channel a while back and built his subscribers up. And I'm really happy that, people listen and went and watched his videos, and he puts out a lot of great content. That was James over at Third Coast OBS. And I'd like to take a little part of this video tonight and shout out two other channels that put out a lot of great content. And if you're in the mood to watch some other great videos, go ahead and check these guys out. I'll put their channel links in the video description below. But the first channel is YDoc Productions. That channel is run by a guy named Cody. He does a lot of old tool restorations. He takes these tools that are rusted up and makes them look brand new. Does a lot of great videos on that. He's got a couple other videos of a Ford F-350 that he's got, and a Dodge Ram pickup. Just kind of reviews on everyday things about them and what to expect whenever you buy a truck like that. The second channel I wanted to talk about was Sparks Fire and Baling Wire. Now, if that's not one of the best YouTube names out there, I don't know what is. That's run by a guy named Jason, lives up in Iowa. He just started doing a few videos a while back. He's trying to get the ball rolling to where he can work on a few projects, smaller projects, and then move up to something big like a car. He just ended up doing a John Deere Rider lawnmower a while back, made this thing look beautiful like it just rolled off the assembly line, and now he's working on a full-size tractor. If you're looking for some great content out there, go ahead and check those guys out and show them some love. And if you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe to them as well. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was entertaining. If you would give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, leave a comment or a question down below. Consider subscribing if this is the kind of content that you're into. And just a friendly reminder that it doesn't matter if you're working on your project in a garage or in your driveway. What matters is that you go out there, you do the job yourself, and you learn more about your project, whatever that project may be. Now that this video is over, how about you go outside and work on something? My name is Zane, and I'll catch you next time.